Boker Tov, everyone. One pasuk for today. Mishlei Perek Yud, pasuk Hey. Oger b'kayitz ben maskil, nirdam b'katzir ben mevish. The ben maskil, the smart son, he gathers in the summer. He gathers his wheat in the summer. Nirdam b'katzir ben mevish. But the son who is an embarrassment, he sleeps even in the time of the katzir. So the time of the katzir is the time of the harvest. So the time of the harvest around Sukkot, around Shavuot time. So there's a harvest then. The smart son is still gathering even in the summer, even later. He's gathering and gathering and still working hard even in the summer. But the son who's an embarrassment, ben mevish, he sleeps in the time of harvest. You're supposed to harvest now. He's sleeping. He's lazy. So here the Gaon of Vilna tells us, of course, the contrast of taking advantage and going above and beyond. And sometimes the other side is people that are lazy, even when they're supposed to be responsible, not the extra, just the basics, and they're still even lazy. They're still even lazy on that. And that, he says, is compared to also Torah learning, where you have some people that they take advantage and they're even learning into the kites, which is referring to even into their late age. They're still learning Torah, even though they're weak, they're still taking advantage. You could say, okay, this is extra. No, they're still taking advantage. And some people, unfortunately, even in their strong days, are not taking advantage and not learning Torah and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, even in their strong days. Meaning, even the basics, they're not even, unfortunately, doing. And another explanation is, he says, a Kabbalistic explanation where the Yamin and Smol, Chesed and Din. So it says what you're supposed to be doing is Chesed, and extra, he calls it that's Din. What you're doing is you're taking that extra and you're turning that into Chesed as well. You're turning Din into Chesed. Whereas someone who's supposed to do the basic, they're turning that into Din, they're not even doing that, so they're turning both into Din. And the last explanation he says there's two types of Talmidei Hachamim. There's a type of Talmidei Chacham in our history that was, like, say, he gives an example, like Rashi or like the Rosh. The Rosh, let's say, like the Rambam, etc. So there's some, like Rashi, that gives a pirush, that gives an explanation on the Torah. Let's say what the Gaon of Vilna is doing here to Mishlei, it's giving an explanation to it. Or you have like the Rosh or like the Rambam, where they take from the Gemarot, they gather from the Gemarot, and they come out with halachic rulings. I mean, Rashi does it on the Torah, or here the Gaon of Vilna is not coming out with halachic rulings. He's explaining to you what the Psukim mean. Rashi and Chumash explains to you what the Psukim mean. Whereas the Rosh or the Rambam or others, the Rif, etc., they take this Gemara says this says this, they gather it and they tell you the halachic ruling. They're not explaining to you what the Gemara means, but they want to gather it for the halachic rulings. So here as well, it's hinted to the two types of Talmidei Hachamim in this pasuk. The first one is the gathering and the kites. So the gathering is like the Rosh that gathers from all the different parts of Torah to give you a halachic ruling. And nirdam b'katzir. Katzir is when you cut, now it's ready to give. Okay, I could cut the wheat and I could give it right away. So too, it's explaining the pasuk and giving an explanation right away. That's being mefarish, and that's the other type of Talmidei Chacham. So both types of Talmidei Chachamim are hinted to in this pasuk as well. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen v'amen. V'chananya, v'nakasher omer atzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, לזכות את ישראל לפיכך חיבה להם תורה מצווה שנאמר אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר קדיש על ישראל.